This is a bad checkout and it's losing more than $200,000 a month, and this brand doesn't even know that this is happening. So what most people think is when you have a brand that is doing, let's say, 50 million a year or 100 million a year, you are already a well-known brand and you don't have to optimize your checkout because customers already know, like, and trust you. And this is far from the truth. So in case you don't know who I am, my name is Andre and I run CRO and experimentation programs for like bigger brands that you might have heard about. Now I'm going to show you two main mistakes that this checkout has, and if they would fix it, they would make at least $200,000 per month in extra added revenue. Mistake number one is that there are no elements that reduce anxiety. And here's what do I mean by this. When a customer reaches checkout, their anxiety is usually at the maximum level. This is because they are about to spend money. So in this step, many customers have these questions or doubts, fears, and questions in their subconscious mind that they might be aware and they might not be aware. Here are a couple examples. Is this a legit brand? What happens if I don't like the product? When I'm going to receive the product? Is this actually the right product for me? Should I actually purchase? Do I need this product right now? These are a couple questions that customers have. And if you don't manage to answer those questions or tackle their objections and solve their fears, what's going to happen? They are going to bounce. So this is usually the percentage of customers that are reaching the checkout. There are those 20% of customers that even if they reach checkout, they will never buy and they will just bounce. That you cannot even, like, even if you try to reduce their anxiety and do everything that I just said, it's not going to work. Then it's the 50% of the customers that reach checkout and they don't need anything else. Like they just want to check out and basically they are like the easy customer. Now, what do you do with the 30% of the customers that are kind of on the fence of buying? They are still unsure. They have high level of anxiety. This advice that I just told you basically applies to that. So now imagine 30% of your customers, when you have a brand that is doing, let's say, 1 million a month, that's like 300K in revenue. So right now, so many brands, including this one, is losing more than 300K because they don't manage to reduce the anxiety, create more trust, and feel the customers reassured. So what would I do right now in order to optimize Glossier checkout? I would actually look at their strongest unique selling propositions and I would show them in this white space, in this white area, or in this area. The second thing that I would do, I would just mention how many customers do they have, how many of them are happy, what are the reviews saying. Maybe just mention Trustpilot. And if some brand owners might say, no, this is not on brand, this is actually gonna make our brand look even cheaper, and I get it, but like with a good UX, you can actually keep things on brand, but you need to apply a couple of psychological tricks in order to make more customers convert. Now, the second mistake that Glossier is making, they do not tackle enough objections. And there is a second way on how you can tackle an objection, and that can be through either a review or a very thoughtfully placed testimonial from a customer. So for example, this is what the biggest brands are doing, and this is what we do for these kind of brands. We interviewed their best customers and some customers that bought in the last 90 days, and we also run surveys. And we ask them after they purchase, and in the email after a couple of days, a couple of questions to try to understand what is the biggest pain point that is happening, and then we try to kind of like find a pattern between the customers that we interview and the one that we are doing surveys. Once we find the biggest pain point, we take a real testimonial from a customer that, for example, in this case, this would be like a perfume, and they're having a perfume in the checkout here. What would I do? I would, let's say, talk about how long the fragrance actually lasts, and I would just place a testimonial from a woman or a man that just talk about how this lasts for days, even in like all of my clothes, even after I'm washing them, like they last longer. This is a big tackle factor because right now customers might have like an objection. What if this is not the best perfume? What if it doesn't smell great? All the kind of like objections that they could throw at you. And now with this testimonial, you literally just like erased all of their objections. And I'm like, okay, this is the right product for me. I'm just checking out. Now, these were two mistakes, and these seem like small things, but they make such a huge difference when you're actually A/B testing. And at scale, when you look in the time span of like 12 months, you're actually seeing how you can add a couple millions to the bottom line of your business just because you change and you improved your checkout. Now, I want to show you one thing that I think Glossier is doing great though, because they are doing some numbers and they are doing them for a reason, because they have a very good product, they have good marketing, and they have an overall decent funnel, but their checkout still sucks. So what I think they are doing right is they are asking, would you like a free pink pouch? And boom, you're getting like a free pink pouch. This is an incredible way on how you apply reciprocity principle, because you're giving them something for free, and now they also feel, because they are ticking it, it feels like they are grabbing it and putting it themselves to the order. This creates so much like instant perceived higher value because because now once you apply the reciprocity principle, which basically means if I will give you something, then the other person is gonna feel compelled to kind of like give something back in return, and that would be their money, and that in action means to check out and purchase, if that makes sense. So this is what I like about Glossier Checkout. But overall, kind of like go back to my two main points and wrap up this video is doubt is the number one conversion killer, and if you don't manage to reduce doubt, then you're gonna lose so much money. And the checkout is the first thing that I would just optimize when it comes to just going and optimizing a brand. But now imagine that there are so many other steps that customers have to take in order to get to checkout. So as I said, the anxiety is super high at this step. So you want to apply the same principles: social proof, trust, answer to all of their questions, like a couple of the questions that I mentioned before. If you manage to tackle them in the collection page, in the product page, in the home page, in the cart, and at the same time you apply powerful principles such as reciprocity and giving free stuff to customers, then you're going to have a fucking good funnel that is going to scale to more than 100 million a year. The biggest brands that we work with are not the one necessarily that spend the most amount of money, but they are smart enough in order to understand that they have to make the most of the money that they are putting into ads, if that makes sense. Because now if they are converting a lot more, now their ads are way more profitable, they have a higher conversion rate, and their cost per acquisition decreases, which means that they are overall more profitable, they are more stable, and they can reinvest into bigger growth. Now, if you want to learn more on how you can optimize your checkout, I made a video, which I'm going to tag somewhere in this video, maybe under this video, and check that out. It's super powerful. It shows you how to optimize your checkout even if you're on Shopify Plus or you're not on Shopify Plus, because there are tricks that you can do even if you're not on Plus. So that was all. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this video. Subscribe to my channel because I'm going to post a lot more stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.